If you don't understand a conscience, you won't understand why you do things. You won't also understand why you don't do things. And you won't also understand why you are not doing well in life. Because you'll realize that the power against any type of attack on your life or any type of oppression, suppression on your life comes from the innocence of a man. There is no power in the world that can oppress an innocent man and keep him down, because if he remains innocent, his spirit will rise and sack the oppressor.
Welcome to Sunday morning church. Oh my gosh, I was just thinking, it's like raw worshiping in the morning. I love rock music. Kirby and I love rock music. I think God loves electric guitar as well. But when we used to have this thing called Word Awards, right? We remember? Word Awards, and so at the end of the year, it's like a big party, New Year celebration where we award people for their diligence with the Word of God. And so one of the themes that we used to have different themes. I can't even remember some of the themes. Yeah, rock royalty, I remember. That's a part of my Disco Divine. Great Gatsby, that was, yeah. But we had the rock royalty one, like it was just us and maybe the Pereira family that had really taken it to another level. And everyone else was not like, and the music, remember? I don't think anybody danced to the rock music. And I was just laughing. I was worshiping. Don't get me wrong, people. Don't judge. I was worshiping. But as I was worshiping and I was listening to the music, I was thinking of all of you guys. And wondering whether you could engage with God, outside the box of traditional worship music. Yeah? Do you like it? I love it. Anyway, it's good morning. Good morning. Okay, so we've had a very eventful week with Epic Black. Friday, Saturday, and tonight is the final show, the last day. Thank you for everyone who showed up. Thank you for everyone who's helping. There are so many people on the teams helping, and there have been people on the teams helping long before even the show began, before the actual show. So I just want to thank everyone on behalf of With My Feet, Naomi. But I think Naomi would like to say it herself and come and testify about Epic Black. So come on, why don't you all give a loud shout out for Naomi Rajaratnam, who was determined to give her happy story today.
So, the curtain comes down on Epic Black today, but it's just so much more than just a show. I started it on the 19th of May last year. So it's a long time in the making, and today it's the letting go. Like Fiona said, I would so like to thank everybody who helped behind the scenes. The people who dance get all the glory, but not the people behind the scenes who are really sweating it out. So I really want to thank them from my heart. But more than anything, I want to thank Prophet Kirby and Fiona, because I wouldn't have done it without them. Because after Trevor went away, I really didn't want to do it. But if not for their courage and guidance and keeping me through it, I would have given up. I had a really good excuse not to do it. So I just want to thank them so much. And I want, want to say that I hope I made WOW really proud of this, and I hope that everybody who comes to see it knows that it comes from WOW and not just from some, thing.
Naomi is the courageous one. I'm telling you, absolutely courageous. She's so gracious because Kay and I mean, we're just there. We love her. We're friends. We're family. We just do what family does. But it's her courage, right, from the very beginning, that has given all of us courage and brought about this amazing expression of worship. Music, dance, the arts. It enables you to. The whole show enables you to totally reflect on God. And you're thinking, what has God got to do with this? It's like Latin dancing and stuff. But it's the story of something that was formed long before you knew the challenges, something you committed to, long before you knew the challenges that were lying ahead of you. And you pushed through to bring about something absolutely beautiful from something broken. Right? So it's an act of worship, and God is all over it. And it causes people, so many people were moved, people who don't come to WOW, and they were like, and some of them are professional dancers, and they're like, all these dancers, all of them were so amazing and so awesome and so excellent, and they just gave it their all. How did Naomi do it? And I was like, well, you have to ask her because, it's an absolute grace on her life. So we never forced her to have the show. We never even had to nudge her towards the show. But you can be jolly sure we're nudging her to have another show next year. I keep saying next time we're going to do it like this, next time we're going to do it like that. And she's like, but yes, so this is her passion, and I'm so proud that WOW gets to shine through it, through what she does with the Lord. Yeah? So, yeah. Also, Johan and Nati, who had hardly done any practice, much to Naomi's absolute horror, but they were amazing. And if you haven't watched it, if you didn't catch it, please come today. I think we still have a few more seats. We do have a few more seats left. So see you all tonight at the show. Okay, I have one more happy story that I want to share because I've been meaning to do it for the last 2 meetings and kind of got delayed. So this one is, how we're really committed to our passions, right? And we're really committed to sports. So you all know how passionately committed Roshit is. And, the endless hours he puts into his training and different things. And he's retired now, a retired breaststroke swimmer that has now found new direction and passion through his 2 girls, Fifi and Remy. No, but the amazing thing is this, right? They look like 2 little reluctant, skinny little kids that were walking around. Now they're like muscles and grown, and they're like strong. They're breaking records. And I just want a quick testimony. Come on, Roshit, Remy, Fifi. Come on. And my God, yes, I'm sorry. And Tashali. I was talking about sports, so then I forgot, but Tashali is the one who takes them and does everything. Yeah.
I took my husband for swimming, now I take my children for swimming. Okay, so she's standing behind. I'm the designated mouthpiece for this. So they recently took part in their inter-house meets, and it was Fifi's first meet, and Remy's, of course, participated before. But the reason we are sharing this more than anything else is because it's easy to think that this is something that's a part of our life because Roshit was a swimmer. But it's not. One of the reasons that we wanted them to do it was because it's not just about sport. in a culture where we grow up in grace, it's so easy to want everything in grace without putting in the work and being entitled to the result. And the truth is, we do walk into everyone's labor in a culture so rich of work that has gone in and irrigated a ground such as this, that is so fertile. You know, my children they don't have to do anything. They just walk into so much of grace. But with sport, you just keep going when you don't feel like it. You keep doing it even when you don't want to. And as coaches, as parents, we realize that we are constantly facing, I don't want to, I don't feel like it, not today. And so a lot of people think that we keep pushing them to swim. Once upon a time, yes. But now we want them to own it. And we want them to make their own journey from it. So we say, you know what, you stay home, it's okay. And now they've started owning, no, but I'm good at it. I like it. So now the results, because they're becoming more and more one with their conscience. And now the results are greater. She doesn't walk like this. After she finishes the event, she has a small hair flip and she walks in a certain way now that she's getting better. But what I want to say is she swam 3 individual events. She's 14 next month, but she had to swim under 16. So with much bigger kids, and she won 1 gold, 1 and 2 silvers. And she came third in all, I think, three relays. This was her first meet. She's swimming under 12, 10, and she won silver in both at her first meet.
Actually, more than the results, what I would want to conclude in saying is that when you come here, like I think quote Dylan on this, he once said that we want to live our dreams through our children. And that's what we all try to do as parents, right? And me coming from a very militant type of training thing, I had to really let go and really trust in what is taught here, trust in the grace that has been taught here, that is displayed upon over us by Prophet and Pastor Fiona as well, and the whole family here. I can remember my good friend Sanjay gave me a bit of advice. He said, stop coaching her, just parent her. And the day that I started seeing those things, everything has changed. So it's just not about medals and relays and that and all this nonsense. You see, it's the culture that is transforming us as well. So it's a completely new journey, not like our journeys that were before. So that's what transformed it.
So as you can see, there's a theology behind everything we do here at WOW. Everything has greater meaning, greater purpose, and it's not just something you do on the surface, it's something that's done with a lot of self-reflection and meaning, yeah? Okay, one more thing I want to show you guys, really, really important. It is the launch of the Apostolic Grace covering, and we launched the site, we launched the website just yesterday, which happened to be a significant day. And this is the website. We're still, there's Pesty over there. And just go to the structure page. I just want to show everybody. Yeah. So this is that the structure page? Yeah. So this is the structure of it all. We have Bishop Paul T. Maran, who is the chief overseer overlooking the whole thing. He's the pioneer, and he's the one who actually paved the way and gave us even the idea for free churches to come under, non-denominational churches to come under a covering, and us to be able to afford them that. So we honor him in that role. And Dave Hodgson is an advisor to all of us and the board of eight people. And then you can see us, John and Kelsey Bestovich, Bishop Prince Maran, Luke and Sandy Walters, and we have Ron and Marilyn McCourt, who are advisors, honoring them for first opening their doors for us in the United States. And we have an awesome, beautiful team of overseers who are with us, churches who are with us, and they're all of them in the next row, and that's growing as well. There's Arosha Chanel as well over there in that team. So yes, this is the structure. This is the covering, Apostolic Grace covering, and I think you will enjoy going through the site because we explore covering from the perspective of grace. okay, from the perspective and protection of grace and what it means to belong to a family without having to conform. Each person, each church, each institution having their own flavor, having their own unique expression. We're a diverse body, right? A body is filled up of different types of parts. And so that's representative in the apostolic grace covering, okay? We're trying to model something that we believe is on a heavenly pattern, okay? We know that he's not in buildings, we know that he's not in structures like that, but he does embody and incarnate structures that are of heavenly patterns. Right? So that's what the apostolic grace covering is, and that's what we're going to the United States to launch. All right. So today we continue with the conscience, okay? And you'll hear a lot of this term conscience IQ theory. Remember, you heard it first at WOW. At WOW, it is a science and theologically informed concept study that Kirby is actually doing, and it's amazing, and I believe it will be very groundbreaking in how we interact, how we relate, and how we self-reflect that awareness that we have. When you talk of conscience, and initially when we started talking of conscience, I remember we're preaching. We first heard the teachings of this from Prophet Kobus in South Africa, but ironically, when we were talking about it and preaching about it thereafter in South Africa, in different places, the first thing people said was, when you talk of conscience, you need to clarify it, because when the moment you say conscience, people feel condemned. It's like they turn their back on their conscience, because the conscience is always showing them something that condemns them, or they feel condemned by it, or they feel trapped by it. And so we decided to expand on it even more, which has led us right to this point over here. But the most amazing way I can describe conscience is every reformation, every great move of God has originated and been sparked by a revival or an illumination of the conscience. Because we now realize that there is no reason to avoid reflection or facing your conscience. Because since Christ has given his life for us, since his precious blood has been sprinkled on that part of who we are as people, we realize it is to even get to that place of self-reflection, even get to listening to what your conscience is saying, is an opportunity. It is not a reprimand. It is an opportunity. Okay? So when you're invited to ponder on different things, it could be simple things like, why did I decide I do not like that or that person? Now we're going into election season. Some of you are like, I'll never vote for this. I'll never. But you never think, why? You think, because they did this when they were there and they did that. No, let's just look at it afresh. Be real, go deeper. It allows us to go deeper. And not limited to political things, because I do that's like taking you all down the rabbit hole. But it could be with anything. It could be with why we don't like certain people, why we argue with certain people in our families, why we have certain opinions, certain judgments. The conscience is what is a I picture it like a ground where you're able to clean and sweep things up. And you're able to now contemplate and reflect and see and think clearly. It enables the Spirit to lead you. Okay? Without listening to your conscience, you will not be able to be led by the Spirit. If you don't sweep that ground and go into that place and clean it up, it's going to get filtered with different things. And a lot of the times you have people saying, my conscience told me to do this, the Spirit told me to do that. And as soon as I hear it, I'm like, I'm not in your conscience, but I can tell you that was not the Lord. Okay? So, but there are people who because it's not clean. And what the Word does is, when the Word is given to you, every single day when the Word is preached, or when it comes to you in different forms, you are actually allowing that Word to go in and land in your hearts. Okay? And in that place, you separate. The Word enables you to separate soul and spirit, bone and marrow. You siphon different things so that your conscience then gets revived and enlightened. Okay, and it's able to pick different things, and it's an absolutely amazing prophetic tool, because you can see very clearly. There's a clarity that comes, and a discernment that comes. There's a patience that comes. You don't jump and quickly, make assumptions and say things. What is this? What is that? You don't do that, because there's an awareness. It's a very beautiful, holy place. This is what reformations are born out of. Okay, an awakening of this place, and so. That's what we're going to go into. That's why it's my favorite, and it should be your favorite word subject to explore, because it builds you. It builds you, and not only does it build you, then it enables you. It builds individualism, but it enables you to also connect with collectivism and to flourish as a body. Okay, so are you ready? Is your conscience ready? Are you sure? Are you ready to sweep up your conscience and clean it up? All right, then get ready, everyone, and welcome Prophet K.
Your love got me feeling so high, got me feeling so high, got me feeling like I can change the world tonight.
On, yes. Today's WOWLife Church Sunday morning message. It's about your conscience IQ theory. Take a seat. Awesome to see your wonderful faces. Loved testimonies, both Rohanthas and the two girls, and although they didn't say much and the parents spoke. But it was, I know their story. Wonderful to see church flourish. It's teeming with success, power, and authority. And this is what church is supposed to be like. How come certain churches can prosper and have even the young ones sort of latch on to what we are saying, and others might not have the same amount of success? And this is an interesting concept when you look at church, but also look at communities. Church is a community. And so you look at why do some communities flourish and other communities just end up being dysfunctional and maybe controlling, manipulative, and leaders that are completely tyrannical. And if you look at political systems, the same thing. This country is going in for election, and we're deciding who to vote for. I remember the time there was a time that we voted for good governance. You remember that story? You remember the time we voted for good governance? And so what is every political party trying to solicit from you? Is a good question, but actually, if you see why you vote, and even in the USA, you're going to the elections in the USA, what is the party? What are they trying to solicit, and what will cause you to have the energy to really get out there and put that vote in is all to do with conscience. If you don't understand a conscience, you won't understand why you do things. You won't also understand why you don't do things, and you won't also understand why you are not doing well in life. The matrix, or the universe, if you want to call it, responds to conscience. I'm not talking about consciousness. There's a lot of talk out there about consciousness and so many theories of consciousness. That's a completely different thing. We are not talking of consciousness. Consciousness is connected to conscience in a roundabout way, but that's not what I'm talking. I'm talking of conscience. In the Sinhalese, it's called, what is it called? Harda Shakshya. Harda Shakshya. No, Harda Shakshya. Yeah, come on, yeah. Harda Shakshya. Okay, so that's an amazing thing, because one thing I can tell you, that at the end of the day, this is a country full of spells and witchcraft and all kinds of things, and not only this country, America as well. And you see so much of attack. You don't know why things go wrong. You have accidents that happen that are very unusual. Favor that is robbed from you, supposed to be successful. And you'll realize that the power against any type of attack on your life, or any type of oppression, suppression on your life, comes from the innocence of a man. There is no power in the world that can oppress an innocent man and keep him down, because if he remains innocent, his spirit will rise and sack the oppressor. Amen. And you've seen it with Mandela. You've seen it across the world where there is oppressive regimes. You've seen the rise of the spirit of man, which is the rise of the conscience. You see, you cannot come against the innocence of the human conscience. And if you keep your conscience innocent constantly, you will see that there is nothing in the world can stop it. There is no curse, there is no sorcery, there is no accusation, there is nothing that can't come against an innocent man. It's a strange, strange thing, okay? And that is why, an atheist needs to relook at his theory, because that one concept, that the human spirit rises when it's oppressed, rises to bring balance back and to bring justice back. That one thing should say that there is a creator that is absolutely good and righteous. You see that you can't argue against that. It is an amazing, amazing concept, and you see it constantly, and it's historically proven. Now, why we teach on conscience and why we developed a theory called conscience IQ theory is because it's directly from the New Testament, and unless we really go into it, you won't understand the science of human flourishing. Why do we? So we're not just saying we are flourishing, and then we're showing how we're flourishing. How is the flourishing happening? And it's not by control, manipulation. You can look like you're flourishing. Just because you have money and you're in charge of something doesn't mean you're flourishing. Okay? The system can be completely corrupted. Okay? The system of flourishing can be completely defiled, corrupted, and eaten through religious and political spirits. You see? And when you go in there, you feel oppressed. You won't have freedom. You see, you feel like when you come here, the first thing that people feel, and it offends them, is freedom. Freedom offends you. Freedom offends those that have an understanding of control. Because freedom scares people. And that's what can happen when you walk into a place like this. They're very free. These guys are very free. They're very normal and free. That's the first thing. They're very normal and free. Okay? No one's trying to be anybody. They're just free. And that is a frightening concept to someone who has a system or a political agenda. And the Bible talks about the sovereignty of the conscience and how God is trying to, let's put it like this, that every man, I'll just explain conscience for you if you're new to this place, every man has a spirit inside of them that is separate to God's spirit. This is important to get. This is Romans 8 and Romans 9. Okay? He says, your spirit witnesses with his spirit. Okay? People make the mistake by saying, oh, every man has the Holy Spirit inside them. Like, don't get that. There is a spirit given by God, which is not Holy Spirit. It doesn't have to be holy. That spirit can be extremely defiled and unholy. But it was originally given by God. Okay? So it's the substance of God. It's like water in my Kangen machine is pure, but the water in the Bere is not. But it's the same, it's water originally. The substance is the same, but it can be contaminated. So originally the Spirit is given by God to every single man, including every religious person under the sun has the image and the Spirit of God inside of them. Whatever religion you are, you have the Spirit of God inside of you. Just know that, right? Now, that Spirit can be redeemed, delivered, awoken, born again, whatever you want to call it, awakened, enlightened, whatever you want to call it. That spirit inside of you can. When that happens, that spirit is paired with the Holy Spirit. And the two become one. Then the two become one. You understand? It's like a pairing of your phone with the system. Okay? Then the two become one. At that point of time, the only way that can happen is through forgiveness. The spirit that is condemned and accused under sin, the Bible says it's condemned and accused under sin. If it is not forgiven, it is defiled, controlling, manipulative, and extremely political. You understand that? But when it is free, and when he's forgiven, and when he's not forgiven at one time, he's forgiven in every different area that needs to be forgiven. And when he receives the forgiveness, he rises up. Okay? And he's strong and he's powerful. And he is representing the Son of God. You understand that? So that is why conscience is important. And that means that his conscience has been freed. It is a pure conscience. The whole story of the Old Testament is to deal with this conscience and the spirit of man. The whole story of the Old Testament, the whole story of the New Testament is about the freed conscience that is seated in heavenly places. Now, so the conscience is a faculty of the spirit. Simple. That's when your spirit has the anger has a mole, the the body has a brain, okay, if you want to call it. This is not exactly right because it's complex, okay, but just figure it out, okay. The body has a brain, okay. The soul has a mind, like the body has a brain. But the spirit has a conscience. So if you want to know, like, how do you know your spirit is talking to you? You heard the Shakshya. How do you know your mind, how do you know your soul is talking to you? Your mind. Do you understand that? But when your spirit is talking to you, you heard the Shakshya is talking. Your conscience starts talking. That means it's deep mind. It's going deeper in. Okay, now, this is so important to understand. I'm going to teach about the curse of Balaam, okay, and why a curse or a thought curse, a word curse. I was just thinking about very, very dear family of mine, and I was thinking of them. I was thinking, what in my mind do I have thoughts about them that need to be shifted and changed so that they can be restored? I was just praying. Okay, one of my family is very sick. I was just praying and saying, God, show me what I'm having in my conscience that accuses even the ones I love. Because no one else thinks about them for me, right? I mean, come on, you have a family, okay? You have a family, okay? You have a father who I think was trying to call us yesterday, okay? Who only you think about, okay? And what is it that can hold someone in a position that they are in? What is it? It is the thoughts of man. The Bible says our thoughts accuse us and excuse us. He says, I'll read it from Romans. Romans is a beautiful chapter that explains it. Romans explains it like this. Go to Romans 1. Beautiful. And if you realize this, people get healed. People around you get healed. People around you get better. What are the thoughts that accuse us and excuse us? See, if the conscience is accused, then it can't transform into the butterfly that we want it to do. And we do this, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, you and I do this constantly. There's so much of accusation that comes through our thoughts all the time. You know, if there's a machine, and soon Google might have it, that they'll know your thoughts. Okay? You'll realize, I think people will be a bit more careful. Okay? How much of our thoughts, and we think it's just okay, it's just going on in my heart. That's exactly where the battlefield is, brother. Okay? That's exactly where the battlefield is. Okay? And so, unless we free our conscience, we allow the blood to wash our conscience clean in those areas, people are held in those realms of judgment and accusation constantly. Now, I'm going to show you something. It's very, very powerful. One of the most powerful things. Come on, when we go to bake a cake, you got to think about it first. Okay? Right? Ralph laughs. Okay? But he doesn't. It's just automatic for him. But the fact of the matter is that for anything you do has to come first through the filter of your mind. And then you create according to that filter. So you can imagine how powerful that filter is. And so Romans, I just want to read it to you. It's just amazing, amazing, amazing chapter. Romans. I wasn't planning to read Romans, but I must read Romans to you. It's in Romans 1. It's such a powerful teaching, Romans 1. And it's here where it says that their conscience accuses them and excuses them. Hold on, I have to get it. I was not planning to read this, but I must read it to you. Okay. Is it Romans 2? Yeah, where is it? Yeah. Sanka, you want? Here we are. I got it. I found it before Sanka. Okay. Yeah, verse 13. Chapter 2, verse 13. Get there. It's beautiful here. Yeah, Romans 2, my mistake, sorry. Romans 2, verse 13. For when the Gentiles, you see that, verse 14? So who is Gentiles? Come on, who's Gentiles? Shout at me who Gentiles is. You, okay, yeah. Right. Christian, I love Christians. Like when a Christian, like, oh, we're not Gentiles. Oh, no, you are Gentile. Okay, we written by a Jew. Okay, so when the Gentiles do not have the law, okay, who do not have the law, because we never had the law of Moses, right? So when we did not have the law, but by nature, they do the things in the law. So that means there's no difference between the 10 Commandments and what you get in every other philosophy. Every other religion has their laws. That's what he says, you see? So he says, so when the Gentiles, okay, do not have the law, who do not have the law, but they do the things of the law, these, although not having the law, are a law to themselves. Do you understand? That means it's the same. Okay? But it's 10 commandments, or 5, or 4, or 7, wherever, or 615 of the Jews, or the law, it's the same thing. Do this, don't do this, this is bad, this is good, that is right, that is wrong. You got it? Okay? Very important. Then it's a law to themselves, who show the work of the law written in their hearts. This is very important. And people think, oh, no, it's the New Testament, God wrote the law in your heart. No, it was written in the heart a long time ago. Okay? So according to this and according to many other places in the Bible, I'll show you. Okay? What was the difference was, I won't even go there. That's a completely different story. But if you need clarification, please ask me. I have long teachings on it. Okay? And so he says, and who show the work of the law written in their hearts, their conscience, you see there, Gentiles, people who don't have the law of Moses, their conscience bearing witness between themselves, their thoughts accusing them or else accusing them. Is it there? Okay, so he says how humanity works is that according to the paradigms, the laws, the cultures that they live in, their thoughts will accuse them or excuse them. You understand that? Okay, this is how you treat your parents. This is how you look after the elders in your community. This is how you serve the poor. You're at a petrol station, or you're at a petrol station, or you're at a juncture with a traffic light, and then suddenly someone knocks on the door, and you get startled, like, oh God, what is that? And it's this woman putting her hand out, trembling and shaking, and she's like, okay. And then I'm out of church sometimes, and so when this happens, they're like, oh God, there's someone behind me, and they just been to my church. Okay. My thoughts accusing and excusing according to the traditions and the laws and the cultures of this society. What would people think of me? I just preached a sermon on like social services. And I can't put my shutter down like 1 inch, and then give her $100 or $1,000 or $5,000 or whatever you want to give her. Okay, if you put your shutter down and give $100, they're really sad, but it's all conscience, right? Okay, but no, I decided to drive away. I said, I won't give her anything. The person at the back says, දැක්කනේ pastor. මොකමද වැඩේ? අපෙන් සල්ලි ගත්ත උදේ. And he goes on. He's in a, He took money from me in the morning, but they can't even give this person 100 rupees. Drives off in his Range Rover. Right? Thoughts accusing and excusing. How do I live with that? I sleep well at night, living with that. Why? How? Maybe my conscience IQ is higher than the one watching me from behind. Maybe their conscience IQ was a 2. And I'm conscience IQ maybe a 9 or 8 on that. In that area. In that area. So whatever I do now in my finances, I prosper. But whatever they do, they don't prosper. Because their conscience is weak. Have you noticed that every time you do a big deal and you just made some money, that's the very time that everyone else needs money? Come on, don't tell me this isn't him. You just made the money, you just got the money, and you're like, oh, I can do it, and then suddenly, so-and-so is the need, and someone's on it, and they're all at the gate, and that's the time that everyone has a problem, and say, can I have some money? How's your conscience IQ? How do you go to sleep? Is it possible for you to say, no? I've got, don't worry, I've got some courses. I don't think I can give you that money. Human flourishing is connected with your conscience. Okay? Some people are seared their conscience and never give any money to anyone. That's called a seared conscience. I want to talk about all 3. We're not talking about all that. We're talking about 3 areas that the Bible determines in the conscience. The New Testament is unbelievable. It goes to the advanced stages of explaining the conscience. It talks about the conscience as a man who has a weak conscience is a man under the law, like the guy looking at me from behind. The vegan who can't eat meat once in a while. The carnivore who can't eat vegetables on the other side. The Kangen water people like myself who can't drink any other water and has to carry only Kangen water wherever they go. Because any other water might kill you. Okay? It is vitamin addicts who need to take their supplements every day, and if they miss one day, they get dizzy and feel like they might get a heart attack. Okay? It is, this is all to do with conscience. It is, it is why a Republican can't have a conversation with a Democrat, and Democrat can't talk to a Republican. Why green can't mix, or now has mixed with blue. I think our conscience IQ with politics is quite high in this country. We'll rate them. But you see, the fact of the matter is that it is why people are under a system and are condemned by a system. Okay? When you're condemned by a system, like when you're having a law and you need to do something. Say you have to read, you do your prayers every single day. You need to read the Bible every single day. I pray my prayers. I do that every single day. And then there are certain days. My mom used to always say before I leave the house those days, "Son, cover yourself with the blood." Okay, so cover yourself with the blood every day. Cover yourself with the blood. Before you step in, cover yourself with blood. Have you covered? If I get in your car, have you covered yourself with the blood? Constantly. And I used to laugh at her when I started understanding stuff. But now I don't. But the fact of the matter is, at that point I was like, "Mom, come on, And then suddenly when something happened, "You didn't cover yourself with blood." And I look, oh my God, I didn't cover myself with the blood. And I didn't cover myself with the blood on that morning. And guess what? I met with accident. And she's like, "I told you to cover yourself with blood." Now, after that, I'm like, oh my God, I need to cover myself with the blood every single day, because if I don't cover myself with the blood, something wrong can happen. Okay? Now, what is this conscience? You think it's a great conscience? Huh? It's a weak conscience. The Bible, Paul talks about this type of conscience. He says, he talks about vegetarian, and it's not about, you can be carnivore, any system. And he says, if a guy is not drinking, and he's never drunk before, and he says, if a guy is vegetarian, don't force him to eat meat or drink beer. He says, because his conscience will be so weak that he will drink the beer and he will think that he's a sinner. I remember an old Pentecostal lady who was a dear, like a mother to me. I was mentored by many crazy people. Right? But she was Ceylon Pentecostal. How many of you know what Ceylon Pentecostal is? I don't think people know. Danne, I think Danne. How Danne? Raise your hand, Ceylon Pentecostal Danne. Sila, you know Ceylon Pentecostal. My God. They are serious. Like they will not listen to music. They only wear white. They don't take medicine. So you must understand, I was trained under this at one point. Okay? And so they're hardcore. The first church I went to India was a Ceylon Pentecostal church. It's the first church if ever invited me. So I honor them absolutely. Yeah? Please understand. So I remember when Auntie was dying, she was dying of cancer, and she had to take Panadol. And so the doctor said, because the pain was so much, and so she had taken the Panadol. And my last words with her was her asking me to forgive her because she had taken the Panadol before she went to heaven. Yeah. And I said, Auntie, don't worry. Auntie, don't worry about it. I wanted you to die in peace. Yeah. That's a weak conscience. A system can cause you to be weak in your conscience. The New Testament frees your conscience. That means even if I didn't say the prayer, that means I want you to pray every day, please understand, but say I missed the prayer. Miss one day I miss covering myself with the blood. I should not meet with accident. Come on. I should not. God should protect me always, anytime. Right? Okay. So that is the power of a redeemed conscience. Okay, now, you all think it's only religious now? Okay, you all think, no, it is only for religious. It is not only religious. It is in every area. The conscience of man is governed by patterns. Believe me, the Bible then talks about mature conscience. The mature conscience means that when a man is in VUCA means volatile, ambiguous, uncertain, complex. You see, that situation where he's in VUCA, he doesn't know what to do, he will always look for the law. And that's great. I do too. When I need something done, say I have a problem with my body or a sickness or disease or something like that, what I'll do immediately, I will start eating a certain way. I'll say, cut out this and cut out that and do this and do that and all that. And as I come back into control, because of the law, it is the wheels on my bike, the guide wheels on the bike. And look, I'm like, hey, without hands. I'm going without hands. But actually, there are two wheels. The law. Okay? We have put myself under a tutor so that it protects me and I feel safe again. I'm controlled. I'm safe again. And that's very good. The law is a tutor. But can we be with those wheels constantly? Can we be constantly underdeveloped? No, we need to take the wheels off. We need to take the law off and see how are we doing without the law. How are we doing without the law? Are we okay? I remember a time I was so scared at one point to say, without saying my prayers, to go out. And then when I first went out, I'm out. I say, not bad, I'm still surviving. And then after the second day, third day, fourth day, no prayers at all. I've not read the Bible, not said in prayer. I say, business is still working. That can't happen. In my previous life, it couldn't happen. Business can't work. If I not said my prayers, business can't work. And I was like, oh. Then grace comes. God really loves me. He really loves me. But that doesn't mean you keep doing this. You see what I'm trying to say? But it gives you experience like, wow, God really loves me. You see? I'm out of the system. But now I go back to a new system. A new system of life, of blessing. I'm telling people, some people are so scared if they don't give their tithe. Now here, this is detrimental to me. You know how much I love you, right? Okay. Very detrimental to this church because we spoke of tithe today. But we preach this. Do you know that we don't preach tithe because of this one thing? Every other church preaches on tithe. We don't preach it one thing because we want you to do it with your conscience. You understand that? Because the previous church preached that if you don't pay the tithe, that you will be cursed. You know the fear of God for me for the first time in my life when I didn't pay the tithe? Oh, I'm going to get cursed. And business is by low profit. And then second day, I say, second month, still profit. Then I realize, man, God really loves me. You can try it for 2 months, huh? After that, God might not, but God. Yeah, don't do it against your conscience. You okay? 2 days, 3 days, 4 months, it's against. Now you're going against your conscience. Yeah. So just don't do it. We need to survive. This church needs to go on, right? But I'm trying to show you how this thing works. Then I found myself free. I'm like, oh my God, God really. Now when I give my tithe, and I give my tithe every month, is it given out of fear? No. It's given out of partnership. It's a completely different realm. Why I come to church is because of partnership. Why I want to be a part of this community is because of partnership. Not just because, oh my God, I won't get blessed. Your conscience is mature. Did you just get it, church? Come on. This is good stuff. Honestly, I think the tithe might double with this. Am I correct? Huh? This side is not saying anything. I'll go there. I'll go here. This guy's got a high conscience here. What do you say? Yes. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. Guys, conscience IQ is very important. We think it doesn't work, it only works in religion, it works in everything. And so the Bible talks about weak conscience. Have you understood weak conscience now? Yeah. Okay. So then, when you understand you're redeemed, you have a strong conscience. You can be creative, you can be powerful, you can do great things, because your conscience is free. We are not under a system that controls us. Operato. Okay? The operato system. We are operantists. The man's heart is bigger, more sovereign than the system. Where did the thought come from? Where did the thought come from? Come on. The Reformation. Before the Reformation, the system and the laws are greater than the heart. You see, it was feudalism. A lord can only be a lord. A tailor can only be a tailor. Feudalism, you know, it was all, not just in Europe, it was across the world. It was the most in these countries. If you come from the Govias, you're a Govia. If you come to Hakurus, you're a Hakuru. Okay? If you come from the Bebaddas, you're the Bebaddas. You cannot change. The system is stronger than you. It's called feudalism. So where do you think democracy came from? Reformation. Where do you think capitalism came from? Reformation. Finally, people thought, hey, no, you know what? The operantis, the heart is greater than the operator, the system. So that system won't hold me and trap me any longer. Whether it's veganism, whether it's saying prayers every day, whether it's writing 10 candles every day, whether it is reading the Bible every day, or whether it is whatever caste system or political system, you see, my heart is greater. And your defense, I hear your defense. My mother-in-law uses this all the time when I bully her. Okay? She says, God knows my heart. Okay? I got it. That's true. That is true. I can't come up against it because finally the heart is more sovereign. I'm like, I'm your pastor, you submit to me, woman. It's operato, which is true. You have to. Okay? You have to because I'm not some tyrant trying to control you. I'm loving you. I'm there for your improvement. But if you bring this card, get out of jail, I can't play with you anymore. It's unfair. Because you win. That card will always win. God knows your heart. God knows. Say, God knows my heart. See, show Vijay Gunaratna. God knows my heart. It's a wonderful thing. You immediately come out of the system. Can I have? I'm reading a book Lanka gave me on the Reformation. Just fabulous. In page 60. Can I have this there? I just want to show you how this guy frames this. Darling. Yeah. I sent it to Darling in the morning. Okay. Where is it? Some Protestants found their conscience leading them on unexpected adventures. This is Reformation, huh? Okay. Even the vast majority who continued to obey their traditional rulers now had to justify their obedience in conscientious terms. Luther had argued that true Christians were subject to everyone. I love this one, huh? Okay, guys, remember this. True Christians are subject to everyone. The king, the political system, the church, everyone. True Christians are subject to everyone, but only because, say only because. As redeemed and liberated souls, they voluntarily chose that subjection. You see that? It's not because the system is greater. And you should listen carefully. That's what we're asking you to do. When no human power, you see there? When no human power can direct or absolve the conscience. No human power. Operato can't do it. It is the conscience that becomes the true sovereign. Come on, yes. Luther. Fabulous, the Protestants. Keep going. King James VI feared that this line of thinking was leading some fiery spirited men in the ministry to envisage a democratic form of government. For the first time, people are thinking, oh, I don't have to be a Tinker-Tailor feudal system. I don't have to be just what my fathers were. I can think and I can rise up. My spirit can rise up. I can be anything I want to be. Because God called me to be that person great. And then you had the peasant revolt, but we won't go into that. You see that? That was not too wild an exaggeration compared to original Protestants of 1529. I won't go into the details of that. But just understand that everything that you have today that you call I'm free came because of the Reformed Church, guys. Come on, lift your hands up to the glory. They facilitated the way that man can start becoming creative and start thinking. You understand that? And therefore, we're not people who sack the institution, but we value the individual heart. Do you understand? We love the institution, but we value the individual heart above everything. And as long as you keep the balance in anything you do, you'll realize that you will have excellence. But a conscience, my dear friends, can be led astray. That is why you need the institution. The institution is not there to control you. We are not there to control you. We are there to prick your conscience. The Bible says that the word is a two-edged sword, piercing to the division of soul and spirit. It comes and separates your spirit and your soul. And every time you leave a service, you're like, oh my God, I felt that. That was like, whoa. It was like heart surgery. I felt that. Do you understand that? And so that feeling is important because it means it's separating your soul and your spirit and you're fine-tuning your conscience. Because if once your conscience is fine-tuned, you flourish. We'll stop with the last bit of this. Okay, I'm trying to land this plane now. Finally, the conscience. Remember, it's a weak conscience under law. Timothy talks about a seared conscience, which I need to talk about, which a lot of people don't know, that their conscience is seared. Your conscience is not seared overall. Your conscience is seared in different areas. It's not, oh, my conscience is just seared. The word seared, my friend Tommy Miller said yesterday, is the Greek word callous, hard-hearted. We are hard-hearted in that area. Every other area, okay, but this area, I don't want to hear. Okay? That area I don't want to touch. I'm hard-hearted in this area. No one is allowed to enter in. It's a dark place. It has not been open to God.
Chefs know the meaning. Chef.
Yeah, seer. Absolutely, yeah. So you have to understand, this seared conscience is a very interesting place, because Timothy says that in the future you'll have a lot of people with seared conscience. People will tell you, don't eat this and don't eat that. He talks about the veganism and the carnivore polarities. People will say, don't drink this and don't drink that. In the future, people will say, don't get married or get married. That means they're completely polarized. It means a conscience is initially weak under the law. Watch what happens, okay? So you do the things of the law. I'll tell you how this happens, okay? Say you were sick and you drank, I won't bring Kangen water again. Judy will get upset at me and Tammy. We are the ones who first brought Kangen water to this country, so please understand, through Judy, right? So I'm okay with Kangen, but I'm just trying to say, let's take something else. Say you get sick on something, and then you start eating a certain diet, okay? Okay, so you start getting sick, you get a rash or whatever it is, and then you start eating a certain diet, and you start eating vegetables in a certain way. And then you become a vegetarian or a vegan. A seared conscience is this. It's a political system. Now that you have a success, because your system worked. This is a mind-blowing concept. You have success that your system worked. What happens now is, next time you see someone eating meat, you say, yeah, don't eat meat, man. Meat kills you, man. Didn't you understand heart disease, all these things come from eating meat? You don't eat meat, eat vegetables. And you give your testimony. And you say, your testimony supports it now. Do you know that I was sick? Do you want to, this is the way. No way, Jose. You see? And now everyone who doesn't eat vegetables is a Satanist. Okay? And judged. Or you eat meat. And everyone who eats veggies, it's like weak fellows, they don't understand. Okay, because the real men eat meat. Okay, that's the two. That's the difference. You get it? Now, what have you got yourself involved with? It's called politics. It's a political system. And so when you get caught to a political system and you're not open to the leading of the Spirit that leads your conscience, that is called a seared conscience. God can't talk to you in that area. You're a Democrat. And God can't talk to you about Republican values. Like, no, I don't want to talk about Republican. Donald Trump is, no, don't talk. Okay, that's seared. That means, no, but how do you know whether God is talking to you? How do you know? God will talk to me, brother, you don't talk. God talks through the mouth of man. How is it God talking? Yeah? Or you only watch Fox News because you're a Republican. And you don't watch CNN. CNN are all liars. I've said that many times. And meant it. But I've changed my wicked ways. I've decided they're all liars. No, I'm just joking, okay? I'm trying, I'm working on this. No one got this right, okay, please. No one has got this right. If I got it right, I'll be walking through walls, right? Okay? No one has got this right. But the better we get it, and the more balanced we get our conscience, and we're ready, we are open to another person's opinion. Oh, no, tell me, okay, no, what is it? Okay, and fight on that, I don't want to hear it. But I'm open. God comes in, light shines, and our conscience becomes mature because you die for a moment there again. And there's a resurrection, a born-again nature that happens. Did you just understand that? You see? So it is so important to understand the teachings of the conscience. It is the science of human flourishing. I mean, it is amazing to understand it. We'll stop with a story in Numbers 22. And the story, I won't go into detail on it, is that there's a prophet called Balaam, hired by a king called Balak. And Balak is coming up against the Israel nation at that time, or they were not Israel at that time, they were the Hebraic tribe. At that time, they were trying to find themselves a nation, and they were traveling. This is the same story that is going on today. Okay, they were traveling through the wilderness, and as they were traveling through the wilderness, there was a king that realized their power and that they will probably take that land, that we're having problems now. And so at that point, he saw it. And he's like, oh, these guys are coming a little too close for comfort. Okay, at that point. And he said, let's attack them. But he was very smart. Okay? And he was very smart, and he said, the way to attack them is, I will first curse them. Because that's how the older guys know to do things. Okay, you don't just go and attack, you first curse them, make sure that the guy who knows to do it does it, and then attack it. You have seen it recently on news, how they did it. Okay? So then the attack, the bullet hits. There is a whole theory. And so he says, he brings the prophet onto a mountain and says, here are the words, now curse this people. And every time this prophet goes to curse them, what comes, this is amazing, guys, because it shows you represent them now. You represent that nation now. Am I correct? Right? Every time this guy is trying to curse, he can't say a curse, he ends up blessing them. And this is the first time. Second time, he's like, Ado, I paid you to curse. What are you doing blessing this guy? Stop it. And he comes again. No, you come again. He said, now curse him again. But what I love about this story, it shows the depth of knowledge and understanding in these rulers. They were not without God. They were not godless. Even if they were bad, even if you are wicked, you're still understanding spiritual principles. It's a funny thing. So the second time was that the prophet doesn't curse. Now he doesn't go and say, move back now, alut prophet kenek ganna. Kohomada ade kohomada? Mu ape වැඩේ කරන්නේ නැහැ. Mu curse කරන්නේ නැහැ. මට curse කරන්න ඕනේ එකට. මම අලුත් prophet කෙනෙක් ගන්නවා. ඒක කරේ නැහැ. Muම තියාගත්තා. I can't understand that. That is the amazing thing. It means he understood, I need him to curse because he's the guy who... This is important. You know why it's important? I told you I was thinking about the thoughts I have about the people I love. The thoughts I have about people I love that accuse people without even me knowing or them knowing. You're a blessing, right? To your family. You're a blessing to your friends, right? The question I ask is, what is your conscience towards them? You might think, that's my mom and you can my dad and mom. Okay. Okay, you can be calloused hard. Children, I'm telling you about parents. Parents, about your children. We can't afford to have those thoughts. Because it's a hard conscience. That area, there's no redemption. There's no redemption in those areas. And so those thoughts, you won't see those things now only. I promise you guys, I'm living this in my life. I'm being vulnerable with you and telling you. You won't see these things now. You see these things as they become weak, grow old, and you start self-reflecting on the thoughts that you had that were like, I hope that thought didn't protect them enough. Didn't protect them enough. The thought I had. And because it's so easy, to dismiss someone when something goes wrong. I've seen it happen all the time, I tell my Fiona a very simple thing. I said, sweetheart, when the dogs, I don't like dogs. I didn't like dogs. I'm sorry to say, I didn't like dogs before. Sorry about it. I didn't like dogs in the house. I like dogs. Dogs hunt, they bite, they do those things, but they can't be coochie-coo with me, okay? Till I met my wife, who has dogs on the bed and all that. So, but I said, sweetheart, whatever happens, I don't want the dogs to go out in the garden and come to my house. The reason is I'll get angry. And I know me. I said, if I get angry, this dog can get sick. Now, if I can think about my dog like that, I'm the blesser, right? You're the blesser, right? If I have a thought like, what is wrong with dog, man? Get the damn dog out of his place. Keep going. Then next day, dog is sick. You're like, oh my God. It's consistent, chronic accusations built up. We are so hard against people we love. And we're wondering, I can't believe my husband doesn't change. I can't believe my wife doesn't change. I can't believe... Sweethearts, because you can't believe. We are having these issues. What happens if we believe? What happens if we deal with this? Be self-reflective. What happens if we change our heart and say, oh God, redeem my conscience from these thoughts? And they can be, honestly, I don't have bad thoughts towards people, but it's just, it is simple irritations that has become chronic through the years. You see? And it has built accusations. I'm telling you, my friends, my dear friends, conscience is a very important part of it. Allow those conscience today, when the pastors come up, present it before God. And say, God, these thoughts, I want it out. I want to see them anew, born again, brand new, the people around me. And suddenly the conscience is free, and you free their conscience. Jesus did this. It's not something that wasn't done. There were Jews who picked the stones to throw at a woman, to kill her. Jesus writes on the hearts of those men who were doing that. And he says their conscience was open. That's the first time the word is used. It means that because his conscience was so pure, he was offering himself as the sacrifice. He was not saying, you wicked people, stop sacrificing. He said, I will be that sacrifice. You understand that? It was fair, it was just, because they needed to offer a sacrifice for the sin that she had done. She was a woman who had fallen short of the law. Please understand that. Jesus was not saying, oh, here, stop that, that's wrong. Huh? No, you think if anyone said that, you think that they would have dropped the stone on the ground? No, they couldn't. He touched their conscience. They willingly put a stone down. Why did they put the accusation down? Because he was willing to pay. Because he thought that they were just. Okay, missed me or got me. He believed that they were just and righteous. And he knew that she was wrong. That's why she says, do not sin no more. We always go to her side and say, Balanda, now because Jews, Pharisees, they were trying to kill this woman. No. This woman deserved death. Conscience opens. And he says, don't do it, because I will be the sacrifice. Their conscience open. Their need for blood and the bloodthirstiness was quenched by the perfect offering. Because they were not perfect. And suddenly their conscience opened. And they dropped the stone and said, it is done. And they saw themselves as her. How do we change the conscience of people? It's a very interesting lesson to be learned. Don't sear your conscience. Keep your conscience. I've seen this happen in this country. Believe me, I've seen this happen in this country. To me, in this country. From being absolutely hated and scandalized. Still hated and scandalized. Okay? But I've seen things shift. Tremendously shift. Like people who are like, Kirby, I'm sorry, people stop me on the road and come and seek my forgiveness. Believe me, I'm telling you, when I go out, sometimes they stop me and they come and say, I've been watching you, and please forgive me, I've thought wrong. Constantly I've said it. Christianity is a very interesting concept. Christianity is about enemy lovers. It's the way to change your enemy to be your best friend. Christianity is about that. It can touch the deepest part of the human condition. Some of my strongest and most loyal people today are people who worked against me. You understand that? Just like Jesus. You were enemies in your heart with him. You didn't believe one word he said. He was the biggest scandal. But you today believe in him with all your heart. If Jesus could do it, he's given you the opportunity that the people around you, the people you love, and all of them, their conscience can shift. And you can be their greatest, and they can be your greatest support and strength. WOWLife Church, present your conscience before God today. Say, God, wash me clean again. Take the accusation away. Come on, take the accusation away. Lift your hands up, come on. God, please, for all of us, Lord. You can do the miracle you did on communion. On the cross, you looked at them and said, I forgive you because you know not what you do. And that was the truth. They would have never crucified him if they knew that he was the Son of God. I hope you understood that. What he's saying is, if you really knew, he given him the benefit of, yes, you can stand. He given him the benefit of doubt, guys. Do you know that he gives them the benefit of doubt? He says, if you really knew I was the Son of God, you would have never crucified me. You Jews are holy, righteous, people who are seeking truth, but you don't see it. And I ask you right now, and I release you from your accusation. I forgive you. Father, right now, come upon this church. Forgive us for those places in our hearts and our lives that we have accused people, condemned people, gone against our conscience when we've known that we shouldn't have. Let your blood flow today, Lord. Forgive us for the accusations against even the ones that we love. Even the ones that we love. The ones that we love dearly, we accuse the most, oh God. Clear our conscience, oh God. Clear our conscience, 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 clear our conscience. Oh God. In Jesus' name, let your Spirit come.